all your texts and comments coming in. If I don't get them today, I will certainly try to give as clear as representation as possible. That's what we try to do, because there's so many people texting in. A person texted in, can we not do something different today, apart from the COVID stuff? What we're trying to do in the programme here, we're trying to give a balance of things, and we're trying to do it in a very informative, very calm, very collected manner. It is the News and Current Affairs show in WLR for the 2 hours. So I understand some people need to turn off, and that is fully, I do it myself. You have to do it yourself. You can't be listening to the news all day. But in particular, for this 2 hours, we try to reflect the concerns, the anxieties, but also the good news and the positive stuff that are coming out from people in Waterford and the South East and abroad. As you know, there's a lot of people abroad listening to this show, Waterford Connections, and we reflect that. We talk to people in Spain, we talk to people in London, we talk to people in Italy, we talk to people in New Zealand, and now we're going to talk, for example, in a second to Mary Keane, the Citizens Information Advice Bureau, about very specific concerns, very simple questions that people have. So I understand sometimes people may think that we're doing too much on this. It has to be done as well, because people have real concerns and they have real questions that they want answers, and they're coming to us to look for those questions and answers. And if people text me privately as well, if I don't get back to you, I'm very sorry. I get inundated with texts and comments. Hakuna Matata, can you please play that for my granddaughter? She's 4. We're going to try and get that now in a little while. Before I come to Mary, one text that came in, I think it's one of the simplest and very, very strongest texts we've got. Damien, why are so many people so worried about the true figures, in inverted commas, regarding COVID? Getting a positive result is not going to cure you. If you have any symptoms but don't qualify, stay at home, mind yourself, distance yourself from those at home. Follow the guidelines. I heard of people who are waiting to be tested who said they had a fever just because they've had the sniffles. We need to take care of our most vulnerable, people who are critically ill, and our healthcare workers. Now, there are people that are concerned, there are people worried, there are people with anxieties out there as well if they get 1 or 2 of the symptoms. There's new guidelines out there. Talk to your GP about it this morning. But be sensible as well, obviously. If you've been told to follow the guidelines, follow the guidelines. Mary, good morning.
Morning, Damien.
Mary Keane, thanks for joining us. You're with the Citizens Information. Is it still called the Citizens Information Advice Bureau?
No, that's the UK one, the CAB. We're Citizens Information Centres.
Okay. Now, a few very, very specific questions. I hope you can answer them for us, please.
Okay.
Is it possible to ask Mary about renting from social authorities? We're talking about rent has been frozen, or is this just private renting?
No, rent increases have been frozen.
Rent increases have been frozen. That's what I said yesterday. This is very important. Yeah. Rent increases have been frozen.
People still have to... It's just rent increases have been frozen and evictions are not allowed at the moment.
So very, very important. If people think that they don't have to pay your rent, you do have to pay your rent. It's rent increases have been frozen. That is very, very important. Yeah? Got that. Okay. Can you ask Mary, please... if people are on X's and O's but out of work now, are they entitled to the new payment of €350? There's a lot of messages coming out from social welfare. That's from Brian.
Yeah, if they've lost their job now totally, they should apply for the new routine payment. But if we're working full-time and are reduced hours, it's a different situation. So if they've been working, apply for the COVID, and they'll be told otherwise if it's not applicable to them.
Okay.
If anybody applies for it, it's gone up to 350.
350, yes.
This week, as announced yesterday.
From 203 last week.
Yeah.
Can I just...
People would... Yeah.
Before we say anything else, do you have a phone number for people to contact you at, or have you got an email or a website?
Our email is waterford@citinfo.ie.
CITINFO. That's CITINFO.ie. Waterford@citinfo, all one word, at .ie. Okay?
Yeah.
People write that down.
And the number then is 0761
0761
07
07
6580.
6580. I had a phone call from a woman yesterday. Some relation of hers is working in a call centre, a contact centre. And Management are trying to bring in, I suppose, implement the 2 metre distance, but in some cases it's not possible.
Okay.
And if the employee is a bit concerned about that, but the manager sort of says, well, we just have to get on with it. Now, nobody's showing any symptoms. What do you have to say to somebody like that? I presume the onus, the employer still has to, if the business is still going ahead, and if it's not one of these businesses that's going to be shut by the government, I presume they just have to continue work, do they?
People have to continue work. If they are not comfortable doing that, maybe they could talk to management about working from home, changing their shift, taking holidays, taking paid time off and working it back later. And discussion needs to happen. So there would be an onus on the employer to provide health and safety in the workplace. So if the government guidelines are to work, to be 2 metres apart, and they're squashed together, that's not
it's not health and safety.
Healthy, not in the current climate, no.
But if the employee feels a bit nervous and doesn't want to raise it with management because he or she might feel, I could be laid off at some stage in the future, I don't want to be seen to be a troublemaker, what's the best thing to do? Contact the Health and Safety Authority, or do it privately, or what do you do?
Do it privately with the employer, or discuss it with our colleagues from a safe distance, obviously, of 2 metres. But if there's an issue where people's health is being impacted, there's a responsibility on the employer, under health and safety to take care of them. They can contact the Health and Safety Authority. They can discuss it with the employer. Maybe the employer is not so conscious of it. I would always say go directly to the person you can talk to immediately. If that's not effective, or if you don't get a result that way, you escalate it up. But often if it's kept at a local, individual level,
yes,
people can negotiate themselves.
Okay, a couple of simple messages. Am I entitled to a medical card now that I've lost my job due to COVID-19?
I can't say whether you are or not. It depends on what savings you have, what property you have. But what I would suggest is you apply. So people should apply. We can send them out a form, or they can apply online to the HSE website. It's much quicker. It's much easier managed than paper system, but I'm conscious that a lot of people don't have access to the internet or can't use it.
Yes.
So we can send out forms. And on saying that, Damien, can I just say, if people need the form for the COVID-19 payment, the illness payment, the short-term working payment, any forms they need, if they give us a ring, we can post them out to them.
Okay, again, write this number down: 0761 076580. 0761 076580. Is the COVID-19 payment for a 5-day week or less if you work a shorter week or are made fully unemployed?
No,
I believe it's pro rata, yeah.
It's a full amount. It's the same amount to everybody, whether you've worked a 3-day week and you lose that job, or you work a 5-day week and you lost that job.
Okay. An email from a Dungarvan listener. A friend has young children and has to stay at home with them as there's no creches or schools. Can she apply for the COVID-19 payment?
Well, at present there are no specific payments for people who can't work. So again, they need to talk to their employer. Could they get compassionate leave from the employer? Could they be allowed to work at home? Could they move the shift so that maybe the other parent of the children, they can co-parent? Can they take holidays? Can they take parental leave? But none of those are paid, unless they take holidays and they get paid holidays. But there's no provision at the moment for home caring for children. And I know a lot of people would be in that situation because all the schools are closed now.
Okay. Okay.
But if they've no money, they could apply for supplementary welfare allowance if they have no income at all or very small income.
I run a business, says this texter. I qualified for state pension last year. My business has now collapsed due to COVID-19. Where does that leave me for my businesses, for my bills, for my business preparation when this passes, apart from necessities?
Well, that person wouldn't be entitled to the COVID-19 payment because they're over 66 if they're on the state pension. It's only payable from aged 18 to 66, so they won't qualify. There are some supports for businesses at the moment who are still running. I would suggest that there may be some, but at the present moment we have no idea what's going to happen after this. So I'm afraid I can't. There may be some packages, there were some provisions. There's a certain amount on the website, citizensinformation.ie, called Supports for Businesses Impacted by COVID-19.
Citizensinformation.ie.
So the person goes on there
okay.
and has a look, but there's no immediate income support for that person that I'm aware of at the moment.
And I'm going to try and get through as many questions as I can. If I can't get to your questions, go to citizensinformation.ie or email waterford@citinfo.ie. Just before I forget it, Joe McHugh, the Minister's advisor, has been on to say if you're awaiting a COVID-19 test and if you've no transport, if you have to go to a test centre, a request can be made for the National Ambulance Service to come and get you. So that's very, very important. Can you please ask Mary, if I worked part-time 2 days and have been laid off for the foreseeable future and my husband is receiving a qualified adult payment of €100 a week on his invalidity pension, am I entitled to payment from social welfare in my own right?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, because up to yesterday, if you were on a welfare payment as well as working, you couldn't get both, except for the work and family payment. There's some change on the site I see today. I would suggest that that person applies for the payment. They may be discontinued as a qualified adult, but seeing as this new payment is $350, it's certainly greater than what their spouse is receiving for them, the €100 a week, as they mentioned there.
Okay. Another email from Dungarvan. Some of her friends work 3 to 4 days a week. If their week is made shorter because of COVID-19, can they claim for those days? One friend said to me she went to welfare online, but you need a government ID. The code was to be sent to her in post. She hasn't received it yet, so therefore she cannot make a claim. Also, if it's an X&O system, does that mean she has to go to the welfare office each week?
Okay, there's a form called short-term working, which has always been there, similar to X's and O's. So to answer the last question first there, yes, they will have to fill in the form. They won't actually be going into the social welfare office. I understand social welfare have drop boxes outside their offices now for any forms or any applications, and you just drop them in there. You don't actually need to go in to see an advisor. And obviously there will be contact details on your form and they will contact you. The first part of the question was, it depends. If they worked 4 or 5 days a week and they're less than 3, yes, they can claim short-term unemployment payment.
And what about students? Can students who do part-time work at weekends and have now been laid off due to coronavirus, COVID-19, claim the benefit under the new scheme?
They can, as long as they're over 18.
They can, as long as they're over 18.
They're over 18, yeah. The payment, or most welfare payments are from people of job-seeking age between 18 and 66.
Okay.
Currently.
Can you ask Mary, if a worker is both part-time employed and part-time self-employed, can I claim for the loss of the self-employed earnings? And from who do I claim my part-time employer is paying a contribution, but I'm down 50% income as I stand?
Okay, so they've lost their self-employed, but still working?
Yes, part-time.
As an employee, it depends on how many days they're working.
Okay.
Are they working, say, 5 mornings a week, or are they working 2 full days? Or generally with an unemployment payment, you must be fully unemployed for any 3 days out of 6.
3 out of 6, okay.
So it depends on the configuration of their working week.
Okay. Citizensinformation.ie. Does the new 2 weekly payment of social welfare benefits apply if you already have it paid through your banking system?
It does. Whether you get paid in the post office or in the bank, it's going to be paid on a 2 weekly basis as from last Monday. So certain people would have got it last Monday, 2 weeks payment instead of the one. And obviously it's to streamline and support welfare in managing this. So certain amount of payments were made on Monday for 2 weeks, or for this week for 2 weeks, like back to education, blind pension carers allowance, whereas the coming Monday, 2 weeks will be paid to back to work allowance, back to work family dividend,
Okay.
certain other payments. So it depends on which payment you're on which week. You get your 2 weekly payments.
And a number of councillors have texted in. If anybody has problems and issues with rent, you can call the council, fill out a council form for reassessment to potentially lower your rent. So that is something that people can talk to the council about.
Because they would be on means tested on the rent. So obviously if their income has gone way down, they would need it adjusted possibly.
And the last question at present, from Mary, I work 3 days a week. Will I get the flat payment of €350 even if it's more than my wages?
Yeah.
You will?
The straight answer is yes. Yeah.
Very good. And finally, one other question. Do people in receipt of disability allowance that lost their jobs get the €350 payment, or just their full DA reinstated? Also, is fuel allowance being extended?
I haven't heard that fuel allowance has been extended. That usually is in payment from October to April. I haven't heard any change to that arrangement. I would imagine it would be a later one unless the weather is extremely bad. The answer to the first part of the question, yesterday I would have said no, they would go totally up to their full rate of disability allowance. But there seems to be some slight change in that this morning, and I'd like to talk if that person could give us a ring, or if you want to pass on their number.
Yes.
I need to look at that, and there's been some slight change with that.
Okay. Mary, there's so many questions coming in. It is phenomenal the amount of people that are texting, and I'm sorry we can't get to them all, but if people want to give you a ring and your staff a ring, 0761, write this down, 0761 076 580. That's 0761 076 580. Waterford at CIT Info. That's CIT Info, all one word, .ie. citizensinformation.ie. Mary, thanks very much. We may have you on again, I think, because there's so many people asking questions.
Okay, Damien, can I just say, if people want to leave a message, obviously there's only two of us on at any one time.
Yes, leave a message on the
phone. So
phone.
we might get to the calls, but we will come back to people if they leave a message. And can I also give a shout out to that local support group that have set up through yourselves that are helping people shopping and that kind of thing. I had cause to refer somebody to it yesterday, and it's great. Can't remember the name of it.
I think it's the COVID-19 Information Action Group, one of those groups.
Yeah, and they're offering to go out and help maybe older people.
Yeah, there's
bring their shopping to them and that.
That's right, another group in Sacred Heart, Johns Park, and so many people doing great work, aren't they?
That's great. And if they could let us know what they're doing, if they emailed in, so then we have that information to pass on to others, it would be great.
Super. Mary Keane, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Not at all. Thank you, Damien. Bye.
Keep up the great work. And they really do very good work there. Like, you could hear the information that Mary has at her fingertips. Very, very knowledgeable. If you can't get through, I presume there'll be dozens of people ringing her now in the next short while. Leave a message. Try later. Other people saying so many different questions. We're going to come back to them in a little while. We're also going to be talking about travel. If you've got travel plans, Ryanair and all the different changes in travel plans. And we also want to hear your final call out for Give Me a Break for the competition with Original Irish Hotels. Give me a break. 083 333 975. Now, can you keep your texts and comments coming in? I'm going to be talking to Owen Corrie in a second about travel matters. Damien, can you repeat the advice of not doing too much DIY? My wife doesn't believe me. Good one. Well done. Owen, good morning.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning.
Are you doing loads of DIY at home, you are?
There's a lot of DIY going on. You can hear the hammers and all the fellas who put things on the long finger taking to it now.
They are, yeah. Just you're coming in and out there slightly with the signal, so just make sure you're okay with that. We had an orthopaedic surgeon on this morning saying that a lot of people going into hospital with broken bones after falling off ladders, so please be careful out there, everybody. Owen, I know you're very busy. You're with Travel Extra and the travel disruption. Ryanair has now grounded flights till June. We've been talking to people in Australia, in New Zealand, different parts of the world. Abby and William from Old Parish here and from Tallow. What is happening out there, please? Can you tell us?
The aviation industry is dealing with something that they never expected to come across in their history. What we've seen is particular to Australia, Damien. If I don't know how clear your line is, so this is okay for you.
That's okay now, thanks.
Yep. Yeah. What we're seeing particular to Australia is the two trunk routes that people used to take with Emirates and Etihad. Both of them very untidily shut down their services. They said they would keep going to Wednesday, and they both pulled out yesterday after a series of information and tweeting information and then retracting it over the weekend. There is one of the major carriers that goes through the Middle East, Qatar. They are still flying, but the bad news is they've reduced their Dublin-Doha leg from 10 flights a week to 4 flights a week, and they have also reduced capacity on the Australian side. They've got grounded their A380s. That means a lot of people who are only discovering now the scale of the problem, trying to get home in a hurry. If you want to book a short notice, even if you're going to Birmingham from Dublin, it's going to cost you a lot of money if you're trying to get it at the last minute. So a lot of those prices are way outside the reach of the Irish people who are out there.
And we've had direct experience of people telling those stories already this week, Owen, and it is horrendous, the amount of monies. And since you've come on air, a woman has just phoned the show to say her daughter is stranded in Dubai. The airline has just abandoned them, Gulf Air, after cancelling their flight.
Yeah, Dubai is shut. She shouldn't even have been let on the flight. Dubai, you cannot get in and out of United Arab Emirates. And while they were allowing transit through, they decided yesterday that only UAE citizens would be let on board the flight. And that is effectively shutting down both all of United Arab Emirates, and that applies to Abu Dhabi as well. Doha, it's closed, but the transit passengers are okay. Different airports, different approaches. Singapore, no transit passengers allowed. Kuala Lumpur, you can't get into Malaysia, but transits are allowed through KL. There are loads of ways home, but they're not one stop. They're not very comfortable. You could end up, Malaysia is still flying. The Chinese airlines say China Eastern, China Southern. You can transit through other Chinese cities, but not Beijing. One that nobody in Ireland thinks of is Aeroflot. We have a daily flight to Moscow, and it'll take 2 stops from Australia, but it is one of the options that probably isn't as crowded or doesn't have the long waiting list at the other. And to add to the confusion, Damien, it's impossible to contact the airlines. The easiest way to get through to an airline at the best of times is to tweet directly to them. But there's something I never knew existed until we discovered it this week. Most of them seem to have a system where if you hold for 3 hours, it then shuts you off and you have to dial in again. And their call centres are completely unable to cope with it.
I know. I had some young lads bringing them over to Norwich last weekend and just couldn't get through to Ryanair. And if you can't get through to them, if the flight is cancelled, do you automatically get a refund if you cannot reschedule? For example, somebody's asking about Aer Lingus. Do you automatically get a refund?
This was a very simple question last week with a very simple answer: yes. Now the airlines are looking to Brussels to say those laws are for normal times. These are not normal times. What the Aer Lingus in particular are doing is offering 110% vouchers for the cost of your trip, and they're saying that if you don't take the voucher, they don't actually advertise that but they are legally obliged. They know they're legally obliged to give the refund. But what all the airlines are doing is saying is if everybody will rise for their refund now, the cash crunch might bring us on down. What the American airlines are doing is saying, here's a voucher for 12 months. If you haven't rebooked in 12 months, we'll give you the cash then. They're doing everything to buy.
And that's fair enough. That's fair enough if you think about it, isn't it?
There are a counter-argument to that a lot of the households who were well off 2 weeks ago are now facing problems of their own and they need the cash.
Yes.
The best of them all, and we like them endlessly, is Ryanair, because they cancelled April, and as you mentioned, they issued a statement yesterday, and most of April and May is gone. Everybody was booked on those flights, got an email saying, this is your link for your refund, fill out the form and we'll give you back the money in 5 days. The difference with Ryanair is they're sitting on a mountain of cash. They can afford to ship something like this. Some of the other airlines cannot.
What about travel insurance? The texter, I'm very annoyed with my travel insurance company. I've tried to contact them. I don't see I'm going to be needing insurance in the near future. I want to cancel it, but I can't get through to them.
Travel insurance inundated. One of the reasons that, there are a lot of sticky points here. We could spend all morning on them.
Yes.
But one of the sticky points is particularly Aer Lingus flights to North America. You're not let into North America. Donald Trump has decided that. You're still booked in your Aer Lingus flight. They say, okay, the flight wasn't cancelled. You're not entitled to your money back. Go to your insurer because your disruption insurance will cover your money. The insurance is saying, no, go to the airline first. So this is the nightmare situation for a punter where two third parties end up fighting it out in the courts for ages, and you've really no idea till all of that process is coming to an end. Insurance disruption cover is not part of your normal €100 a year, €90 a year travel insurance policy. It costs about €17 extra for the year and 10 for a trip, and it's supposed to cover things like the ash cloud, if listeners can remember that far back. But what it should have been covering is coronavirus. What I see is the new policies not including the new policies including a clause saying it does not apply to coronavirus, and some of the existing policies you can probably see a fight there in the courts. At EU level, this is where it'll all end up, saying, we don't have to pay for that. But disruption cover should cover you. And if you're trying to get through to the travel insurance company for something that isn't related to the current crisis, you haven't a hope of getting through because they're inundated with frantic passengers and people who really need money now that mightn't have thought they needed it.
And I won't keep you because there's so many people coming in about KLM. Do you know if they're still flying? Other people...
Yeah, KLM are very limited routes. Netherlands is one of the few countries open, but their long-haul fleet is grounded. Lufthansa's long-haul fleet is effectively grounded. Qantas's long-haul fleet is effectively grounded. BA's is grounded. Yeah. You're down to a smaller number of airlines. When that happens, supply and demand is the same as when I was in St. Anne's National School. The price will go up. The place not to be stranded because it's very, very messy and very complicated in South America. Australia has closed down, but they haven't shut their airports, they haven't shut their borders. South America has.
And what about...
There are lots of Irish out there.
We're trying to talk to this lady on the phone about her granddaughter being stuck in Dubai. Like, what advice would you have for somebody there?
Just sit it out. You're not going to be able, if she's in actually Dubai working there or in the city there, you're not going to get out until the United Arab Emirates government decides, and they're less conducive to special pleading than most of the Western European ones are.
Owen Corrie, mind yourself and your family. God bless.
Thank you very much, Damien.
Thank you, Owen Corrie there, Travel Extra, in these extraordinary times. As I say, dozens upon dozens of texts coming in, questions about employment issues, questions about, I'm attending a wedding in Spain in July. Do you think things will be back up and running by then? We just don't know. Other people asking about the carers allowance. Again, citizensinformation.ie. A number of people texting. I was out walking a dog yesterday evening. 2 lads came towards me. The small lad started coughing at me. I tore into him. They obviously thought it was funny. Another woman texted in the Greystew area. She was walking yesterday, and they passed her and deliberately coughed at her. She told them in no uncertain terms. She was very angry about it. Keep your texts and comments coming in, please. Now I'm going to be talking to Jamie in a second from Stradbally with our competition, so get your quiz minds going. The Corona Challenge says this person has to be stamped out really quickly or someone is going to get hurt. Another texter, anyone who coughs at a person should be publicly vilified and fined €1,000. In Canada they're doing this and they're jailing people about this. Others texting in about their matters regarding airlines and also are flying schools operating at the present? How can that be true? A special shout out to Louise's mother Anne. Louise in New Zealand. Special shout out to her mammy Anne, who's 82 years of age. Hello, Anne Cusack. Now I think we've got Jamie on the line. Good morning, Jamie.
Morning.
How are you getting on?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. I'm wonderful. Do you like quizzes? You do?
Sure. I'll give them a go anyway.
Fair play to you. Sure, why not? And everybody else will. You've got 30 seconds. This is the Win a Breakaway competition, courtesy of Original Irish Hotels. And you can use this anytime later in the year. And the Carna Bay Hotel in Galway. That'd be nice.
It'd be beautiful.
It really would. It'd be lovely. 2-night breakaway with breakfast and 1 evening meal for 2. So listen, the very best of luck. Jamie Long from Stradbally. And we're ready to go. So you know how it works. I'm going to play the 30-second timer underneath you. Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
And we'll give it an out shot. And if you don't know it, just say pass. Say it very quickly. Jamie Long, here we go. Are you ready? Okay. What does GAA stand for?
Grand Theft Auto.
What sweet food is made by bees using nectar from flowers?
Honey.
How many tentacles does an octopus have?
8.
What planet is known as the red planet?
Mars.
How many hours are there in 2 days?
48.
A foal is a baby what?
Horse.
Who plays the dad in Matilda?
Pass.
Middleton is a town in which county?
Cork.
Very good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You said the first question I asked was what does GAA stand for?
Oh, I thought you said GTA. GAA is Gaelic Athletic Association.
It is, yes, it is, yeah. Janie Mac, that's a good one. I'll tell you, I'll talk to Aoibhín about it. Aoibhín is our quiz impersonario, and she is going to look at this later for the drive time thing. So you got 6. If you get that right, I knew you misheard me. But we'll have to consult with the experts on this. And if you get 7, then you'll be joint top with another person from earlier on. Is that okay?
Okay, perfect.
So we'll just see how it goes, because you threw me. Yeah, like it was a good answer, Grand Theft Auto, whatever it was, but GAA, I knew you'd misheard me. But I'll talk to her and we'll hang on to your number and we'll give you a ring back later. Is that all right?
Perfect, no worries.
Jamie, do you want to say hello to anybody?
No.
Fair play to you. Love it. Fair play to you. Listen, mind yourself. Stay safe, okay?
Thanks. You too.
Thank you, Jamie Long there. I love that idea. Yeah, no, I'm grand. No need to say hello to anybody. It's all fine. So we're coming near the end of our show, but we're going to play a few Disney songs at the end. We had some requests for this brilliant song. I'm not going to play it all, but let's have a little listen. Hakuna Matata. Now, we've been talking to people over the last few days about home help and about carers and about everything about going to visit different people. Mary Cummins has been on this show before. I've been talking to Mary Cummins about, I suppose, the issues of home help and home care and the importance of visiting people.
Hello, Damien.
A lot of people would know you from all the work you've done for charities over the years, and you were on this show recently, and you're stepping back from a lot of the work that you've been doing because to look after your husband. Tell me about your husband, please.
As you know, I told you he had Parkinson's, Damien, and it's a in time for us here at the moment. I'm not the only one. I'm not alone in this. The whole world are worried. But I have the carers coming in 3 times a day. I could never manage without them. They're just wonderful.
They're wonderful,
wonderful. And I worry about them coming in. Will anything happen to them?
Yeah.
And they worry about us. We're all worried. But what we're doing, we're definitely doing what we're told. They're washing their hands. They're doing everything that has been.
As far as I know, Mary, everybody involved in carers associations and different groups are adhering to all the standards and all the requirements and all the regulations, and they understand where people are coming from, and they're basically putting together all those procedures to make sure that they do their job in the right way. And that's so important for peace of mind for yourself, for your husband, for everybody that has people coming into the house at this difficult time, isn't it?
That's true. They're wonderful. I would never be able to manage without them. And if anything happened that they couldn't get in here, I don't know what I'd do. I just don't know. And as I said to you, they're doing everything properly, washing their hands, and what the HSE has laid down, it's all been done exactly as it should be. So we can do no more. We're just hoping that we get through this without any fatalities.
And
it's very worrying, Damien. Very, very worrying.
I presume as well, Mary, the fact of isolating more than you normally would, not getting out as much. We had a lady on to me there the other day who was talking about dementia and a person in her family who has dementia and the difficulties with them because they're not able to get out. It's just been very, very difficult. I'll just read it out here. I'm desperate for your advice, Damien. My mother is living at home. She's usually not too bad as we look after her, but as things are at the moment, it's really hard. She's not getting it. She's not washing her hands. She's heading out all the time, going out to God knows where, trying even to drive, even though they've taken out parts of this lady's car to stop her. They've organised Meals on Wheels, which is great, but sometimes she's refusing it, and it's very hard to deal with. So it's very difficult to deal with people with dementia at the best of times, but in these very difficult times, she's not accepting it. There's so many hardship cases out there, Mary, isn't there?
Oh, shit, they wouldn't understand. You know, you're talking about, I haven't been outside the door now for a week. Last Thursday week was the first time I've been out. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying put. I did go out in the garden for a little while yesterday. It was a lovely day, just for a breath of air. But I'm just afraid, Damien, I'm not going to have family that they're not even coming in. They just come to the door and drop it in. They're afraid also that they'll bring anything in here. And the grandchildren, unfortunately, it's terrible not to see them. And I had 3 of them with birthdays this month, you know. And I just, out the window to them, saying hello.
How does it make you feel, Mary? Like, you're a strong person. You've seen a lot of difficult situations over the years with a lot of the charities you've worked with. And it's just sad, isn't it? But we have to take every day as it comes. We have to edge forward every day, don't we?
Every day, and I think people are wonderful, and the response that's coming, I think the Irish people are fantastic. We are definitely doing our best. There's probably an odd one or two who are not taking it serious, but the majority of people do realise the danger of this. We never ever for 1 minute thought that it would come to this. I was with my doctor a few months ago, and when it was bad in China, and I mentioned it to him, you know, do you think it will come here? Oh, he says, I definitely do. But we never thought it would come to this, Damien, you know. Never, ever. And I had a poor lady rang me this morning. She has Parkinson's. She's living in Butlertown, and she's worried about herself. And she just rang me this morning. She's in the same boat as us. She can't get out. And I felt so sorry for her, you know.
And it's so important in these times, and community groups are coming together so well, that people take the time to ring people, to have a chat, to ring your loved ones and neighbours, and just to keep in touch. Because we've heard from Jim Griffin and others that are doing the COVID-19 Waterford Action Group, as well as delivering the loaf of bread and different things like that. It's just people want to have a chat. Might only be 5 minutes at a social distance, out the window, whatever, but just to have that communication with others.
It's lovely. I'd love to be able to help, Joseph, but I'm at the other end of it now myself. I need the help, you know, and I'm getting it. Thanks very much to the girls that are coming in here and the boys. I can't thank them enough. They're wonderful.
Mary, thank you very much for that. That's a talk that I had with Mary over the last while, and a lot of people texting in to say to her and everybody that is minding a sick person at home, wish you the very best. We've had a text in. My dad had extreme tremors and Parkinson's. I never knew at the time how to help, but there's the tool, the Smovie tool is helping, says this person. Another person, Breda, says, I heard the GAA question. That was very, very clear. And a big shout out to Anna Sheehan in Millhouse in Cappoquin. Thank you for all the news you're giving us this morning. I listen all the time and every morning. I live on my own, not only in the evenings, such a change. I mind my grandchildren. Normally, I can't tell you how much I miss them, but I will never take things for granted again. And please God, this will all be over soon. Stay safe, everybody. That's from Anna in Cappoquin. Keep your texts and your comments coming in. A woman has phoned into 051 846 123. She's borrowings from a Provident. Ask if they'll give any leeway on payments. She also said the agent called to them last week to talk to them about it. As far as I know, you have to talk to the particular company in question and see if they will do anything for you regarding that. Simon has texted in to say after waiting 45 minutes for Ryanair, they said it would take 7 to 10 business days to process the claim and then 2 to 3 weeks before you get a refund, and they wouldn't give him a claim number. So different companies are doing it in different ways regarding that matter. Now, do you like that song? I think we're going to end on a happy tune. Damien says, Susan, I'm at work. I'm on my own. I was strutting my stuff here to bare necessities, but you cut it off in the middle. Well, we're going to play the wonderful You've Got a Friend for Me in Toy Story, especially for Faye and Patrick out in Tramore, for all the children that are listening this morning and all their mammies and daddies that are minding them and guardians. Mark is out at the test centre at WIT Arena. Can you please, he say, stress on people, it's appointment only, and also only arrive 5 or 10 minutes before your appointment time. Do not arrive early because you're going to be clogging up the system. And you do have to get a lift to get there. You can also arrive in a push bike or a motorbike also. So you can put the bike in the boot of the car if you don't drive. But obviously if you're driving, that doesn't matter. Thank you everybody for listening this morning. Andy is up next. Julie produced as ever. We have a marvellous team working here in WLR. We're staying safe. We want you to stay safe. Maintain a safe social distance. Do not cough in somebody's face. Do not do that. If you see somebody doing it, report them. That's what I would say.